Hello, my name is Jenna Bosiger, and you're watching Cryptid Cryptids YouTube channel. On this episode, this is going to be a Halloween special about ghosts, and it's kind of personal because I'm also going to tell you about my experiences growing up in a haunted house in a ghost town. And the name of that town is Jerome, Arizona. So a little background about the history of Jerome. Jerome was known as the wickedest city in the West. At one point, I'm reading from visitarizona.com, talking about Jerome, that at one point there were 37 bars and 13 bordellos. There was a red light district, and the hospital loomed over the entire city. The Gold King Mine was the #1 producer of copper, silver, and gold in the world around the 1920s. And during that time, it was really a wild, crazy, dangerous place. And working in the mines was very dangerous. The hospital was busy, very busy. There were gunfights in the streets sometimes, people being stabbed, shot, beaten up, and it was dangerous for the working women who worked in these places as well. Before that, my first job, I was working at Betty's Ore House. Ore as in copper ore house, a really big house that was way up at the top. It was at the top of Jerome on Clark Street, but we had to wait because it needed to be remodeled. So we both lived in separate places in Lower Clarkdale for a little while, and then when it was done being remodeled, we moved in together. And soon thereafter, we realized it was haunted. But I remember hearing from somebody that it had been sitting abandoned and was being remodeled for us, and that it used to be a whorehouse. And I remember this old yellowed textured wallpaper that was crumbling on the walls, and it was red velvet, a red velvet Victorian design, and you could feel the red velvet. I did all I could to find out research about my old house to see if there was information that could back that up, and I couldn't find any information to back it up. So the first thing that we noticed, how we noticed our house was haunted, is that we would see each other standing in the window. The two sets of two windows, and they were long and tall and vertical. You would look out the windows to see the view, but down at the bottom of the steps you would park, and then you'd have to go up the steps to get to the house. And it happened to both of us. I would see her standing in the window waving at me, and then I would rush up there, and she wouldn't be upstairs. There would be nobody there. And that happened to her too. And looking back, I just think it was a blonde woman waving. And I don't think it was my mom. It was a very eerie feeling when you would get up there too. And it seemed like the upstairs and the back room, which was my bedroom, was the most haunted. And finally, I did have to move out of the back bedroom. It was a big back bedroom. And I had to move into the smaller upstairs bedroom because my mom said that the reason I gave her was because I kept waking up and someone was standing over me. I had a lot of night terrors, just waking up. When finally waking up, someone would be standing up over me, and then they would kind of fade away as I would wake up. But not being able to move or scream, and that happened a lot there. Well, there was a time in the kitchen when I was cooking, and then all of a sudden there was like some red stuff on the white kitchen floor. And I started wiping it up, and it was just spreading. And I was wiping it up, rinsing out the sponge and wiping it up. And it was just this red stuff that was spreading all over the kitchen floor. I don't know where it came from, don't know what it was and why it was spreading or where the source was. But I remember at the time, not that I know, but it felt like I was wiping out blood. Was weird. Very weird. And then, sometimes it was just so scary to go upstairs. When I got home from school, I wouldn't go upstairs. I would just I wouldn't even go upstairs into my own room. I would just wait for my mom to get home before going upstairs because it was just too scary up there. And there was something about the feeling when there's a ghost present. The sheer terror is really hard to describe. And I don't know if they're able to pass on the fear that they felt when they died. And that's why it is just so unbelievably terrifying, is because you're feeling what they felt when they died. It's terrifying when there's a ghost when you're in the presence of a ghost, or when they come around. And I do remember I used to sometimes be afraid of feeling that fear. So I was feeling fear about feeling fear. The fear that I would feel when a ghost would come. Sometimes they wouldn't, and then sometimes they would. And that fear was just so intense, like none other. But everybody had stories about buildings being haunted and experiences being haunted. And one of the scariest ones was somebody, I think, rented a room in the hospital, and I guess the elevator just came on at 3 a.m, came up to their floor, and they looked out down the hallway, and then the doors opened, and a empty wheelchair wheels out, and then wheels out onto the floor into the hallway, and kind of rolls down the hallway a little bit towards them. That was weird and very scary. Was haunted. Everybody knew the hospital was haunted. Now they've renovated it since I've lived there and turned it into a hotel. And I don't know if they were having stories about hauntings in the hotel or not, but the abandoned hospital was haunted. So it's talking about ghosts. When I'm researching a topic, I will even go to look at the dictionary definition of a word that I already know. But I'll do it with this fresh mindset, like with ghosts in mind. So I did that for cryptids. And suddenly, the definition of cryptids doesn't make any sense to me. It's an oxymoron. It totally contradicts itself in 2 words. Unknown animals. Well, if they're unknown, how do you know they're animals? So like ghosts now are not cryptids. That's the whole point of cryptids, is we don't know what they are. So I do not like the unknown animals definition. I think they need to change it to unknown creatures. I did the same with the Bible. I just a little glazed over with ghosts in mind and read the same things, some of the same things again with the first, for the first time though, because I had ghosts in mind. The Bible does mention ghosts a lot. It does appear that they have the same definition for ghosts that we do today, which is apparition of dead people in a nebulous kind of form. One of the ways ghost was used in the Bible was a phrase used to describe the moment of death that I thought was interesting. And that phrase is, he or she gave up the ghost. So that does seem to signify that something leaves the body from a dead person when they die. And then another thing that was said, a quote by God, I will turn your city into a ghost town. The Trinity. Also, spirit and ghost would appear to be synonymous. It appears that the Holy Ghost was from when Jesus came to the earth as a human, and then when he died, that was the Holy Ghost. That's the Holy Ghost. Jesus is ghost. Thanks for watching this Halloween special, this episode about ghosts. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. And I hope you like this video. And if you do, don't forget to hit the like button. All right, until next time, bye.